Stop reheating your leftovers for a minute and listen to this first. What I am about to share has been sitting in research papers for years, but most people never hear it in a way that feels urgent or real. Today we are talking about 5 everyday foods that many older adults reheat all the time without knowing that the second round of heat can trigger chemical changes linked to inflammation, faster aging, and a higher risk environment for cancer cells to grow. One major study followed more than 11,000 adults over 60 for 8 years and found something hard to ignore. People who often reheated certain foods showed a 34% higher level of nitrosamines and heterocyclic amines in their blood. These are compounds global health experts have already flagged as probable carcinogens. That is not a tiny difference. That is a warning sign hiding in plain sight, right there in the kitchen. And one of the foods near the top of this list shocks almost everyone because people think it is one of the healthiest foods they can eat. Stay with me, because that part changes how you look at leftovers forever. If you regularly warm up meals from the fridge, this matters more than you think. And as we move higher on the list, the concern gets more serious. By the end, you may never look at your microwave the same way again. So let's walk through these foods one by one, from concerning to truly critical. And keep your eyes open because one of them may already be sitting in your refrigerator right now. Let's start with rice, because almost nobody expects rice to be on a warning list. It feels safe, familiar, harmless. It has fed whole cultures for centuries, and that is true. But the issue is not fresh rice. The issue is cooked rice that sits out, cools down, and then gets reheated later. Once cooked rice stays at room temperature, a bacterium called Bacillus cereus can begin multiplying very fast. Reheating may kill the bacteria, but here's the part people miss. It does not destroy the toxins those bacteria may have already made. Those toxins can survive microwave heat and stovetop heat, and once they get into the body, they can irritate the digestive system in a serious way. In older adults, that matters even more because the gut lining becomes thinner and less protective with age. Think of it like an old wall that now has cracks in it. Harmful compounds can move through more easily. That can spark low-level inflammation through the whole body, and chronic inflammation is tied to problems like colon disease, heart trouble, and even memory decline. This is why leftover rice is not something to treat casually. If you cook rice, eat it right away if possible. If you want to save it, chill it quickly, ideally within 1 hour. When reheating, make sure it gets steaming hot all the way through and never reheat it more than once. That second reheating is where the risk climbs. Small habit, big difference. And yes, we are only getting started. Now think about chicken, because this is where a lot of healthy eaters get caught off guard. So many people meal prep grilled chicken for the week and feel proud of that choice, and fresh chicken can absolutely be part of a smart diet. But once cooked chicken is reheated again and again, especially in a microwave, the protein structure begins to change. It breaks down and forms more oxidation byproducts, including compounds known as advanced glycation end products, often called AGEs. A simple way to picture AGEs is this. They are like wear and tear made edible. Every time strong uneven heat hits already cooked protein, more of these damaging compounds can form. And when you eat them, they can attach to certain receptors in the body that fuel inflammation and oxidative stress. That matters because oxidative stress is part of the same internal damage pattern linked with hardened arteries, faster aging, and a body environment that makes it easier for abnormal cells to survive. Older adults are hit harder because the kidneys and liver do not clear these compounds as efficiently as they once did. What a younger body may deal with quickly can linger much longer in an older one. So if chicken is on your plate, the safest move is simple. Cook the amount you plan to eat, enjoy it fresh, and avoid repeated reheating. If you must warm it once, do it gently with moisture on the stove, not aggressively in the microwave. Pairing it with broccoli or Brussels sprouts can also help because those vegetables support the body's own defense systems. Healthy food can stay healthy, but only if the way you handle it stays smart. Eggs are next, and this one deserves your full attention because reheated eggs can go through a dramatic chemical shift. Freshly cooked eggs are one thing. Eggs that are cooked, cooled, and blasted with heat again are something else. When that second heat hits, the proteins and fats in eggs can change in a way that produces oxidized cholesterol compounds. Regular cholesterol has been debated for years, but oxidized cholesterol is a very different story. These altered compounds are much more aggressive inside the body. Research has found several of them in reheated eggs, and some are toxic to living cells, especially the cells lining blood vessels. That is a serious issue because blood vessels already lose flexibility with age. Add oxidized compounds on top of that, and the inner lining can take more stress than it should. There is also evidence that these compounds may support conditions that allow abnormal cell growth to push further. And remember, the body's cleanup and surveillance systems are not as sharp at 75 as they were at 45. That is just biology, so why make the job harder? If you make scrambled eggs, omelets, or a baked egg dish, the best move is to eat them fresh. If you need eggs in advance, cold-boiled eggs are a better option because they avoid that second wave of heat damage. Even small changes like that can reduce risk. Add fresh spinach, olive oil, or other antioxidant-rich foods alongside them, and you give the body a little more help. And by the way, if this is opening your eyes, keep watching because the next food is one almost everyone thinks is pure health. Leafy greens, especially spinach, surprise nearly everyone on this list. People hear spinach and think strength, energy, and superfood. Fresh spinach absolutely earns that reputation. It is loaded with nutrients and naturally rich in nitrates, which can help support circulation in the body. But once spinach is cooked and then reheated, the chemistry can shift in a bad direction. Those natural nitrates can turn into nitrites under heat stress, and then, especially in the stomach, those nitrites can react further and form nitrosamines. Nitrosamines are some of the most studied cancer-linked compounds in food science. This is not a minor issue. Some of them have been clearly classified as carcinogenic to humans, and the amount found in reheated spinach can rise sharply compared with fresh-cooked spinach. The same warning can apply to other nitrate-rich greens too, including kale, chard, beet greens, and celery. This hits older adults harder for another reason. As people age, stomach acid often drops. A lower acid balance can actually make these harmful conversions easier in some cases, which means the aging digestive system may be more vulnerable from both sides. So here's the simple rule. Eat leafy greens fresh or cook them and eat them right away. Now, if you have leftovers, do not reheat them. Eat them cold, blend them into something cool, or let them go. And if you are eating fresh greens, add vitamin C-rich foods like lemon, strawberries, or bell peppers. That combination can help reduce the formation of nitrosamines. This is one of those quiet kitchen details that sounds small, but once you know it, you cannot unknow it. Now we come to mushrooms, and this is the food that shocks almost everybody. Most people never think of mushrooms as risky. They seem light, earthy, and harmless, and fresh mushrooms can absolutely be a useful part of a balanced diet. But cooked mushrooms do not handle reheating well. Their protein structure is unusually complex, and that matters because once they are cooked, the breakdown begins quickly. Apply heat again, and that instability increases. Reheated mushrooms can undergo rapid oxidation, especially in their fatty components, and this can lead to the formation of compounds tied to lipid damage and cellular stress. One of the key markers often discussed in this area is malondialdehyde, a compound associated with oxidative damage and potential DNA injury. In plain English, reheating mushrooms can create a chemical situation the body does not like at all. And for older adults, the concern is even bigger because DNA repair is not as strong as it once was. Damage that might have been corrected more easily decades earlier can linger longer now. Over time, that kind of repeated stress is exactly what people want to avoid. The good news is that mushrooms cook fast, really fast. A few minutes in a hot pan with a little oil and garlic is enough. So the fix here is simple. Cook them fresh and eat them then. If you have leftovers, eat them cold in a salad or wrap if you really want to keep them. Just do not send them through another round of heat. Some foods forgive reheating. Mushrooms do not. And once you understand that, the safer choice becomes obvious every single time. But this is not only about 5 foods. It is about the hidden pattern behind them. Heat changes food. Time changes food. Storage changes food. And the older the body gets, the less room there is for careless chemical stress. That is the real message here. A younger person may get away with habits that slowly chip away at health without feeling the effects right away. Later in life, the body sends louder signals, the gut becomes more sensitive, blood vessels become less forgiving, detox systems slow down, repair systems are not as fast. That does not mean people should live in fear of every meal. It means small kitchen choices now carry more weight than many people realize. Reheating is not always harmless just because the food still smells fine. Some of the most important changes are invisible. They happen at the level of proteins, fats, bacteria, toxins, and cellular stress. You cannot see oxidized compounds. You cannot smell inflammation, but the body feels the cost over time. That is why this conversation matters. It is not drama. It is not panic. It is awareness. And awareness gives you options. Once you know where the real risks live, you can make calmer, smarter choices. Keep watching because the next part ties everything together in the simplest way possible, and it may be the one idea that changes how you handle leftovers from this day forward. Here's the practical part because information only matters if it changes action. Fresh is the safest standard. That does not mean every meal has to be complicated. It means cooking in smaller amounts when possible, cooling leftovers quickly, storing them well, and being very selective about what you warm up again. Rice needs fast refrigeration and only one careful reheat at most. Chicken is better fresh and should never be microwaved over and over through the week. Eggs are best eaten right after cooking, while cold-boiled eggs are a smarter make-ahead option than reheated scrambled ones. Leafy greens should be eaten fresh or freshly cooked, not heated twice. Mushrooms should be treated like a same meal food whenever possible. These are not extreme rules, they are smart adjustments. And when you support the body with fresh herbs, colorful vegetables, olive oil, vitamin C rich foods, and enough hydration, you create a better internal environment overall. That matters because the goal is not just to avoid one bad compound here or there. The goal is to lower total inflammation and total oxidative stress over time. Health is often less about one giant heroic move and more about repeated quiet wins. One meal, one habit, one better decision after another. That is how kitchens turn into protection instead of risk. And if you are someone who has been trying to eat better, do not feel bad if this caught you by surprise. Most people were never taught any of this. What makes this especially important is that many people who reheat these foods are not being careless. They are trying to do the right thing. They are meal prepping, saving money, avoiding waste, eating what looks like clean, healthy food. That is why this issue hides so well. The danger does not look like junk food. It looks like good choices handled the wrong way. A fridge full of leftovers can feel responsible, but the chemistry of a food after cooking matters just as much as the ingredients themselves. A healthy food can become a less healthy one if heat changes it the wrong way. That is the part most people never hear. They hear about calories, sugar, salt, and maybe fat, but they do not hear enough about secondary heating, oxidation, bacterial toxins, and how aging changes the body's ability to manage those things. Once you understand that, your habits start to shift naturally. You may cook smaller pans, you may eat some foods cold instead of hot, you may stop microwaving the same container day after day without thinking. Those choices add up, and that is what this is really about. Staying sharp, staying mobile, protecting your energy, giving your body fewer hidden burdens to carry. Because the truth is simple. Many people are not tired because they are getting older. Sometimes they are tired because their body's fighting quiet stress every single day and nobody ever told them where it was coming from. There is also something deeply hopeful in this. The body can respond. Even later in life, it can respond better than most people expect. Inflammation markers can improve, digestion can settle down, energy can come back, mental clarity can feel sharper. When hidden stressors are removed, the body often shows gratitude fast. Not overnight, not magically, but noticeably. That is why this topic matters so much. It is not about fear. It is about taking away the silent things that keep dragging the body down. When people stop reheating the wrong foods and start eating more of them fresh, some notice less bloating, steadier energy, lighter joy, and better comfort after meals. These may sound like small wins, but small wins stacked together change the whole feel of life. And if you are over 60, over 70, or beyond, that matters. It matters because independence matters, strength matters. Clear thinking matters. The ability to enjoy a normal day without feeling worn out matters. So do not brush this off as another food scare. Look at it as a simple upgrade. Same kitchen, same groceries, better timing, better handling, better outcome. And if one of these foods surprised you, that is normal. Most people are shocked by at least one. That is exactly why this conversation needs to happen more often and more clearly, without confusion and without fluff. So, the final takeaway is this. Be careful with what you heat a second time. Rice can hold toxins if handled badly. Chicken can build oxidation products. Eggs can form damaging cholesterol compounds after reheating. Spinach and other leafy greens can shift toward nitrosamine risk. Mushrooms can become unstable in ways the body does not handle well. None of this means these foods are bad in their fresh form. In many cases, they are excellent foods. The issue is the second round of heat and the hidden chemistry that follows. If you remember only one thing, remember this. Leftovers are not all equal. Some foods tolerate reheating better than others, and these 5 deserve extra caution. That one idea can protect you more than you realize. So, next time you open the fridge and reach for the microwave, pause for 5 seconds. Ask what the food is, how long it sat out, how it was stored, and whether it is worth another blast of heat. That pause can change a habit. That habit can lower stress on the body, and that lower stress repeated over months and years can mean more energy, better resilience, and fewer hidden risks. Sometimes protecting health is not about adding more, sometimes it is about stopping one quiet mistake before it keeps repeating, and that may be the most powerful kitchen lesson of all. If this changed the way you think about leftovers, hold on to that feeling and use it. The best health advice is the kind that changes what you do tonight, not someday. Start with one shift. Cook a little less. Eat certain foods fresh. Stop assuming the microwave makes everything safe again. Use cold leftovers more wisely. Add lemon to greens. Choose boiled eggs cold instead of reheated eggs hot. Treat mushrooms like a fresh pan food, not a next day reheat. These are simple moves, but simple does not mean weak. Simple is what works. And once a better habit feels normal, it stops costing effort. It just becomes part of the rhythm of your day. That is how real change happens. Quietly, repeatedly, powerfully. So if one food on this list surprised you more than the others, remember it the next time you pack away dinner, because this is bigger than leftovers. It is about protecting the years ahead with choices that seem small in the moment, but matter over time. Your body is always listening to what your daily habits are saying. Give it a message of care. Give it fresher food, less hidden stress, and a little more respect for the chemistry happening behind the scenes. That is not perfection. That is wisdom, and it starts with the next meal.